affordable homes, social housing homes. It was about solution homes, essential living, So that was the product or the segment or the category that we agreed we were going to promote. So then what we came out with was your new solution to living life as a value proposition, right? So from that agreement, so from that value proposition, this is how we apply to the identity or the branding. What's essential is something totally necessary, is very important, it's your core, right? Sunday? Okay. And to the brand that reflected integrity, that reflected the fact that they were solution homes, they were built to rent, they were of quality, and they had to then also build themselves to this community, right? And what was symbolic to that core still was actually a nest, something home, something family, that represented essential living. And this when I went, we sat down, I sat down with the clients for about 3 days. And when I heard that name, a nesta, there was something to it, but I don't know what it was. So when I understood the product category better, when we agreed on the segmentation of the product better, and we aligned very clearly and simplified the value proposition, which was essential living for urban dwellers, that symbol of nest that ranked in that name, a nesta, was kind of there, So nest was home and it's family. So that connection was how we came up with the branding. So I didn't create much. I just recreated and re-engineered what was already there, which was coming back with Anesta Homes as a name, given and to give that typography a feel that was more human, that was more fluid, that was more tactile, and be executed in a very warm, friendly, colorful manner that was wholesome, that was natural, that was made with love, because that's all about living. When we buy a house, that's what we're looking for. So that was applied in the identity when we did the brand guidelines. And we had a mood that was agreed between me and the client and the whole board. And this was the direction that, we felt was very real and fluid and natural. You see, it doesn't feel so affordable, it doesn't feel so cheap, but it's not also very luxury. So it feels, it matters with the kind of association you put yourself. And this was just some ideas that was going to also resonate with the name. So now if you go into their sales gallery, they've actually got that nest sofa with the eggs, and they, the first home buyers, when you put down your deposit, they give them the egg holders with nesting thing. So it's just all, things that will then capture the essence of your brand and the value of the core promise of your brand. So it was something from that and that name. We then created, of course, it wasn't magic that it just applied like that. We went for like 5 rounds of typography change and color references and everything. But then it just became still the same thing, a nesta. But it had that meaning, that it had the emphasis on the nest. People could associate the name to what it was offering. And that's how important I feel the ideation of branding, when you create something, should be applied again to your intent and then execute it. So that's case study example 1. Any questions here? I can show you how it's also then translated into the collaterals or the items we did to market it after that. So the thinking process or the clarity between me and the client to agree on proposition, product segmentation, offering was about like 4 weeks. Then it became easy for us to do the naming and the identity and the branding. Question, yeah. We looked into, it was actually, because initially the brief was low-cost housing in Kapong, which was like right before Kuala Lumpur, you know that, yeah? So so when we kind of shift the product, the category to solution homes, which is slightly more expensive than affordable housing, and it was very Chinese skewed. Yeah. So the young business owners, first family, family status, couples, first child. So the whole, if you look at the collaterals, I had another attachment. Yeah, not this one yet. It was our, because we also did not just identity, we did a photography, stock image, and everything, and it was very inspiring to the family, the young couples. Yeah.
You want to do the collateral?
Yeah. Any questions, guys? Am I going too fast? Are you guys clear on how it's cool? It's fast? No, okay. Prami is actually a client, so you can also we can also talk about your case. So yeah. Stop it, Sunday. Come on. Let's go. Yeah. I think with stationery and branding guidelines is actually internal as well to get your team to understand, because they're selling so many different products, sales teams, right? So this is just like a cheat sheet for them to go, okay, now we're on the young couple mode and this is the feeling, it's all natural, because they've got other properties with like high-end bling bling stuff, and that was a different tone altogether, So, pardon me?
I've been going to Malaysia for about 20 years.
Yeah.
It's like they've never had a downturn in the property though.
No.
It's like always going up, and every time I go I keep thinking,
They're just building some more and some more. Yeah.
is that because people are moving to...
They like the trend in Kapong. Okay, you guys have a quick look at this identity. The trend, while I answer you, the trend in Kapong is that it's what they call Kapong by Kapong.
Yeah, yeah.
So the people that are there would then buy still the same location for then their children. That would then be the first families. Yeah, so that's why it just goes on.
Idea.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And it's, yeah. So if you have a look at that, from the color reference to the identity of that brand and how we applied it to the collaterals, it's just suddenly changed. If you could see the collaterals prior with the first logo that was kind of colorful, it was really colorful.
Too colourful.
Yeah, and it was actually okay for that property they had in East Malaysia, because that was for low cost, So it was a different target, and that was fine, right? And yeah, so this is what we ended up doing for the whole collateral development. So I'm trying to very quickly take you through that train of thought and see how you think, and then apply it to design. Design and identity, again, is very intangible. I've got arguments. I've been in arguments with a lot of people that don't even believe in branding and identity. Some people say, I don't need nice logos, I don't need nice colors. And I'm like, whatever, it's like, okay, I respect your school of thought, but for me, it plays a big role, and I think it changes automatically, because I'm one, I also specialize in shopper and retail marketing, and I know this theory for a fact, right? But I'm one that goes into the supermarket and still picks something out of the shelf because I like the packaging, and I don't even know what the product, I've never heard of the name of the brand, So, yeah, so which means it works. But it's subjective, like the colors, the design, and that's when I think the trick to it now is for you to be very clear about you. And when you're clear about you and you want to develop your product or your brand, and you stand for that, then it just will work, It's your own legacy. Any questions so far, guys? Is that all right? Is that kind of clear? So that's a Nasta. I like that. That will always hold close to my heart, because it's my first client. Big client on my own. Temu is a up and coming one. It's not launched yet, and this is just another example. Not so much identity, but it's an example of business clarity and that value proposition. So this brief came from Arta, the Waharna group. They are actually the Honda motorbike distributors. So they sell, or they distribute 70% of the motorbikes across Indonesia. And they were expanding into hospitality. and they already bought themselves 9 or own 9 brands of hotels on their own that were franchised, but they wanted to go into something on their own, develop their own brand and manage their own. But they were quite already clear of which segment. So they've got like 3 stars hotel, 5-star hotels that they partner with Compass Group and stuff. They now wanted to create their own brand, which converts their service units, their motorbike service blocks across Indonesia, and make that into a hostel. And that was the business they wanted to go to. So when they approached me, and they knew I was living in Bali, and I had a bit more of a insight to the millennials and the youth, and they were very clear that they wanted to target local, because the units they had, the service units they had, were all across Indonesia. In Jogja, the flagship is going to be in Bandung. So they wanted a mix of the international kind of feel now, but now applied to the local. So I needed to validate that business segment, and also create a brand or identity that will support their vision. So it's called Temu. Again, similar to being Indonesian, and they wanted to tackle the local market because Temu means to meet in Bahasa. So it's like a meeting point. So that naming process, we went through a few discussion. It was actually between Temu. We knew we wanted a local name because then it will apply to the local market. And it was between Temu and Biru, but Biru being blue and blue being calm and, the rational behind it. But Temu was a bit more cute because it was also going to be a co-living concept within that hostel. But the validation was then done and the business is a go-ahead. The only difference was the insight we found out when we got clarity and the values and why they were doing it was that that market was not really ready yet for hostel like the way it's here. It's going to be a hybrid. It was beds still, but with a bit of closure segments. So we needed to understand that because that would then apply not just the identity, but also the interior and the layout and the design of the hostel. Okay, nice. Yeah, it's cute, huh? Thank you. I like that too. Any more questions? You guys want to go? I've got lots of case studies. Go for it. Do you want to apply it to your case? Yeah. Research, groups, focus groups. So we had 3 ways. We categorized the segments, male, female, where did they come from, the flashbackers, the backpackers. Then we had focus groups. So again, it all depends on the budget. If you've got a lot of money, you can do a lot of focus groups. And we had also email sent out. So database. Just to go, okay, they were ready or they were not. More so on the business proposition before the naming, because naming and branding is just a lot of association. So it's people to kind of see how they react to it, why they, what comes up first, what kind of pictures they get. So it was more the business proposition that we validated. I think with Temu, because the clients, the network of the service units are a lot, right? So they even asked their distributors and stuff. So there was one, they were quite concerned with one place in Bali being called Titik Temu. I think it was a coffee shop or something. Yeah. So, and that was about the copyrights because we've done the logo and everything. And that's why our Temu is spelled with double M. As in the old Sanskrit way. And Titik Temu had like a dot, Titik, and then Temu, which is literally the meeting point, So yeah, very cool. Then from there we developed. It was really nice. I didn't email that, but it's in my laptop. Like the whole stationery set and how we applied it to the collaterals and it's translated really well. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
It's a dot and Temu. And then this one now is Temu. Did that got in easy, like for the registration? Did they approved it?
This is the client side. Yeah, it's still going on, but
Okay.
it's a different because we are registering the logo, the identity. you can't register a generic word. Like you can't register biru.
Okay.
You can't register, but you can register the logo once you've created it. So that's your trademarks or the identity.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
got
you.
it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of how I developed into the collaterals, yeah. So we have it's. I don't have it here. It's on my laptop, but it's very similar on how we extend it into the whole stationery, welcome mat, doorknobs.
Sorry,
Oh.
my question is more about the development of this logo.
Oh, how it was created.
Yeah, what's the
Rationale behind the
visual
design?
reasoning about
Yeah.
the
Design.
design?
Yeah. Okay. So it's clouds to kind of say sleep. Okay, and that's the rationale behind the designers, and that's why the curves. We still stayed with the blue because to them it was calming and it was about being together. And then there are elements I think with the symbol, and that's local and Sanskrit. Sanskrit, yeah, no problem. I worked. One thing I might share with you guys is also my model of consulting is, I believe, the future of work, which is where everyone's freelancing, right? So what I do is I have a list of designers, art directors, photographers, and once I understand the client and their sets of values and them and what they want to apply for their business, I would then also pick what I feel is the best designer or graphic designer. So the guy that worked on this is actually the typical profile of he's Indonesian, he's from Jakarta, and he's a typical profile of someone who would use Temu, because it's kind of going to be the local co-living space, and it's very different from this. Yeah, it's a bit if you see the design, and I can't show that because it's still in progress. It's actually a bit like a budget hotel more than a hostel. It's a bit like a 3-star, 2-star budget hotel. Yeah, no problem. Answer your question, yeah. Any other question on identity? Any of you guys developing your own brands and identity? Anything you want to share it out? Not yet? Right. Okay. Oh yeah? Nice. Okay, let me see what's next. Rationale behind it.
The name is Warung Mekosari.
Waro
And I did the
logo.
logo with the Balinese down there, some flowers and flowers. Absolutely cool. I really liked it.
Yeah, some people are lucky, and is business good?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's growing and
Yeah.
getting a good
Yeah.
reputation
Yeah.
from being authentic.
Right. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, so picking up from this, how long have I got? I would love to understand your individual cases because I think that's where it applies, right? The real stuff that's going on. How long have I got, Dee?
1 hour.
Still? Wow. Okay.
Do you guys want to stay longer and have a chat? So
One-on-one?
1 hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
As long as you don't get stuck through content.
I've only got 11 slides, but I can talk. If we after finish talking, I can teach you guys how to meditate. That takes another half an hour, so you understand now what living's about. Yeah.
Make it more interactive then. But what you've said that really touched me is how you collaborate. For me, that's how I think the future of business should
Should be.
It's not competitive. It should be
Collaborate.
Should be collaborative.
Collective. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's it's nice for me to share it here because my capital is the big guys, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
actually went out to them and said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And of course, it's because of network that someone would just say, okay, I'll just give you something to try. But I noticed that what's coming is also like-minded people, like
Yeah.
CEOs or entrepreneurs that think that way, and they are not coming because, they don't even have to see the team. When I was in the Obernac in my earlier years, clients will only just want to talk to the creative director.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm paying you big money. Just, let me see your creative director. They don't care now because once they're clear and they feel that I understand what they are about and their business, and, they've given me, okay, maybe I like pink or I like orange, and then go away, and just come back. And that's that trust. And they know that this group of people that we work with, whether it's photographers or designers or, copywriters, it's just a pool that's everywhere, and they're not just here. I've got them across, and not only individual freelancers, companies as well are working together. Like a lot of clients now are asking for digital transformation, and that's not my skill set.
But you can be a connector
Yeah.
to somebody who does
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
that's I think the future.
Correct.
It has to be the future.
And
for
I
sure.
work with they're in London, they're in Vietnam, Da Nang, because the programmers are there. They're in New York, and it's fine. And everyone's like, okay, great, we've got this client, let's do it. But I guess this is where I'll go into that in my last slide, because I think that's one core reason in why I do my business the way I do and why it's worked together. Is because we share that one core belief together. That's my last slide. Okay. But I got one more slide to share with you on just how branding, since we're in the branding side still, how it's just now different from before and what we should kind of be focusing on, okay? The before, when I started advertising, it was 1999. I think 1999, 2009. It was all transaction based. So it's all about the sales, and it's a message, and it's static, and it's like, I tell you what I'm good at, the look and feel, and it's pretty complex. It's one way, and which touch point are we going to get them from the petrol kiosk to the supermarket to, that kind of stuff. And the audience, it's always about that target audience, and it's standardized. Big companies would just have it templated so that it's all the same across the world, right? But I think about maybe 5 years, 10 years, with Virgin and Apple, and more personalities are coming into play. It's really now about relationships, and it's about the person. Most brands are people. If you look at, I think the most current relevant example, and might not be agreed by a lot of people, is Kylie, the makeup brand. Kylie Kardashian? Okay. She's like an 18-year-old Kardashian, and it's all about the high life. But she's gone into doing her own makeup line because that's her. She's all done up. She's 18, and but she's the most successful makeup brand as we speak now. And it's all just on Instagram. She sells her product online. It's sold out before it's even gone live. She has all the Snapchat. It's conversation. It's dynamic, and she does the makeup tutorial on live. It's about the doing. So it's a very different relationship the brands are having now with their end users, right? But the experience, it's a dialogue, it's engagement. This is really big. I think community, and everything that's selling is really selling core to a community. Like Chrissy, you're in the fitness business, but you're very tied up to the CrossFit community, and that's a strong community, right? And it's also about authenticity and being authentic to that. Yeah? So those are just quick cheat notes on how things are just changing. So this is what's changing, or what's becoming the real reason when I go out there and work with agencies and we say, okay, let's go do it together. They all want to do it for a good cause. They want to be clear that the brands, like one-on-one, it's very difficult for us to move things, but we go together and we work with big brands and make them understand that they can also do good. And this is not just like CSR. It can be corporate investment. You can still make money, but do good in social impact areas, and and everything that needs good. Then we can all work together, and that's what the future's about, I feel. So that's legacy, right? And I think when I go out and say that's my intent, I know I only do marketing and I create logos, but I still want to change the world with making them do that in the right way. And they're like, yeah, yeah, okay, we believe you. And the digital tech guys are doing e-commerce business, and say like, okay, come on board. We'll do this together because they have the same vision. Yeah. Correct. And not only that, I notice is also in a lot of big companies now are having a struggle with having people want to work for them. The millennials, they want a reason to want to work with you, because if not, I can just sit here and do my own thing and get more money.
I went to see a great engineering company
Right.
in Malaysia,
Right.
and they were asking me and an Australian guy, how do we get young Malaysians to work for us?
Yeah.
And it was a fantastic company, and I only thing I could come up with, you have to make it more exciting.
Yeah.
Because the money's not going to do it.
No.
Nobody wants to work in
Yeah.
engineering industry, and it was fantastic. They had this picture of Bruce Lee
Yeah.
and one of his quotes as the company logo, and it was an amazing company. And they couldn't get staff, and the government were cutting the foreign worker policies.
And they had to hire locals. Yeah.
Because maybe I'll put you in touch with them.
Oh, great. Yeah.
A Malaysian company, I forgot the MCI, not MNC.
MIC. Yeah. MNC. MNC. Yeah. So yeah, because it's a struggle. The young, I'm not back in Malaysia, but because there's certain values or certain things that are happening, or your core is just not aligned yet, and that's how people pick where they want to work, because they have the freedom to choose, right? But once you relate to them on the same sets of values, whatever that is, you can be an ice cream maker, but you're taking your produce from local farmers, and that resonates with a kid that would serve it, and they will serve it because they like it that way. My niece, she's 18, and she's interning at this gelato place, and it's like hard work. I think they're paying her, Marissa, they're paying her like nothing. And she's like, oh, but they're helping the local farmers, lala. They're taking the food from wherever, and she's standing there serving, right? Yeah, and then and that's the reason they want to do it. So to get the people to work for you, to make sure people relate to buy to you, you gotta just have a very good value. Yeah, you gotta know who you are and why you're doing it, and what will you leave behind, the legacy behind it. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, with that is my promotional slide. So I believe ideation and branding is instinctive, and the power of your brand lies in being present and authentic. Instinctive. I think it's an instinct. Like there's no wrong or right. When I see the client, when I see the person, when I see you, and I see your business, and if you feel that's right, it's like doing your own pie, right? Like when you make your own pie, it's your hand, so that taste is yours. I feel it's the same concept with how you brand your business. And it's about being present and aware and authentic.
If you try and get too inside your head when you're creating, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel authentic. If you're trying to picture your market without knowing it, if you're trying to work out their needs and wants without knowing them, you feel like you're missing.
Yeah.
Get to that point where you can really absorb their needs, wants, and desires. Oh, thanks if I need it. Until you can absorb their needs, wants, and desires, it feels like you're lost, like you're lost in the woods, and you're not sure where home is.
Doing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I might make it sound more simple than it is. Like, to be honest, there's a lot of questions I'm still asking on my business. And it's okay to change. I mean, you pivot, right? Whether it's the way you approach your business and stuff. But your values, I think the reason of why you're doing it is something you got to get clarity at. Because once you're clear with that, it's easy and it's clearer for you to communicate. And that's just the power of marketing. And how you tell your story. Because everybody's got our stories. And your story is different from mine. And you know. Yeah, so there's okay, let's just change slide because I feel myself staring. Yeah. I know. Cool, let's open it to the floor and we've got questions or things. Yeah, go Chrissy. Go for it.
We have a very small company. We've been around for only 4 years, but we've grown from one brand offering and one extra baby. So from one brand offering to now 4 different brand offerings.
Yeah.
And I'm a very business-minded person. It's just about the numbers, community, the management of the company. But when I want to launch a new concept, the thing that I really struggle with is working with creatives. I really struggle with it. Sometimes I'm like, this is my vision, and then they're completely off tangent, and it just gets really frustrating. But you know, as a business person, time is very important. I don't want to spend 6 months just trying to find the right color. So I find myself accepting good enough with creatives. Can you share some like top tips of how to manage creatives as someone from a
That's
creative
an
industry?
excellent question because I'm actually not creative based. I love creative. I really like the process and how they do it, but sometimes by category I'm not creative based, but I feel actually I can get more creative than creatives now that I'm running my own agency. So I can say, oh yeah, I'm the co-founder and co-creative, right? Yeah, so my thing is agencies in real corporate terms, right? Mainstream agencies struggle with this, and on the corporate level that fault sits with the CMO, the chief marketing officer, because the ideator or the CEO, right, like yourself, you come out with the idea, you know what your business you want to expand with, right? So you go, okay, I want to what's the example? Okay, you want to give me an example? Okay, fit meals, right? And the ideation strategy needs to be very clear when we translate that with creative in making the promise or the belief very clear. Right, fit meals. Why are you giving fit meals? What's the intention of your fit meals? Yeah.
So that it's easy for households to get healthy without having to go out and cafes. It's eating healthy when you're not like a single and free person that can just go out anytime you want and have 2 hours to cook every night.
See, so that with you saying that already, a creative will go, you know, because they just don't digest like that.
yeah.
So it's about having that middle person or getting clarity about, okay, fit meals, meals that are efficient for people on the go, for instance, right? That's just on top of my head, and that's the one line you give to the creative, okay? And then you've always got, because they come up with visuals, I feel that having a reference board is the best way to get them to where you want. Because when it's your brand, you've got your color, if you've got some sense of creative ownership and you know what you're doing, what helps is going to Pinterest, looking at the branding pin boards, and if you know what you kind of like and that feels, sometimes you don't have to say this is the direction, but this is what I feel my brand should be, and you give them that reference, then they can relate to it. Yeah.
Good. I've never done any reference boards for
You
them.
gotta give them reference. Like for me, in my process with the clients, even the CEOs, right? I understand what they want. I agree with them first before going to my creatives that these are the reference. After we've cleared that this is the value proposition and it won't change. Now this is the visual reference. These are the colors they want to use because it make it easier. You can have a discussion on colors for like 3 weeks. And that's like brain numbing. Yeah. And there's always a reason for a different color. I can show you like the Anesta board. We had like blue for this, purple for that. And you know, you can just argue till the cows come home, right? Like it's so subjective. So you agree on that and then you show it to the creatives. And that's when you give them the creative freedom of, okay, these are the parameters, go play. Pinterest board.
Any more questions? I can add to that, by the way. Our founder, Roger Hamilton, created a profile test, which is called Wealth Dynamics. For example, I think you're a Lord, I'm a star, and he's a creator. So it depends on what type of person, what type of entrepreneur you are. And it gives you a clear guidelines how to communicate with different profiles. So, for example, your creatives are creators, and there is like a specific language and how you need to communicate with them. So check it out. It's wealthdynamics.com, and we have Marilyn here. She's taking the whole thing, the whole certification program, and it's amazing. If you want to talk to her, she's here. She's going to London, by the way. And it's amazing tool for you how to understand how to talk to different types of people in your team. For Lord like you, it's very clear. You are focused on numbers and spreadsheets probably and processes. And for example, stars who are in charge for your promotions and those who create, they need different approach, and it's very clear in that profile test. Thank you.
It's quite simple to understand as well. I have done profilings for big international companies, and then when I did that, it made it so simple, and I only did the 4, and I was a mechanic, and it made sense. Yeah, so I got it, and it brings it more home that you do need to collaborate, and that's actually how we met. We've got different strengths, but the same kind of objective. We want to sell weapons and destroy people because they drive us crazy most of the time. But no, yeah, that was a joke. But sometimes you have those days, though. What's the point in saving humanity?
Thank you. I'm not giving jokes out today. I don't have any. It's getting all serious. Sunday, can you be my joke?
I have a question.
Go for it.
Who are your main clients? I saw you mention a lot of people you have from the real estate industry. And do you have any other industries that approach you and you collaborate with them, or you refer them to any other professionals, or you work with only real estate?
No, I actually, if you see my consulting company profile and the identity of that, and it's just a totally different feel from this, and I go across sector because it's a bit more premium, and so currently this ones are all my past clients. Currently I've got approached by, I'm doing some social enterprises. The most recent of this week was a company from Doha that's going to open a special learning school for children. And their model, they were interested in talking to me because their model of service was slightly, was very similar. They're going to go remote. Like, they're going to have a pool of teachers from Boston. It's called Boston Innovative Learning Center, BILC. And so they want me to come up with the branding and the identity, but he got a call because he saw my posting on social media. Actually, about 80% of my current clienteles are coming from my Facebook postings. So that's also another info.
This is another question. Do you promote or you just generic traffic that you get just through your posts because you have strong brand already, or you boost them, or you share them?
It's just my
just your own post.
My own post.
And how many followers do you have in your Facebook page?
On the brand, it's only about 200 on my consulting brand, but on my personal, it's about 1,000 over. So mostly, I think because of my network and it's referral out of that.
So you have a strong network, and people probably see what they like your post, and then their people see it.
And that again is also like currently for myself, and I think it's easier for me to give this example, is I'm also getting into personal branding because I feel that plays a role with how I consult to my clients. So I'm doing a lot of things on my own, like talking about, a lot of them actually come because they were very interested on how I work remotely from Bali. And they understand, of course, there's the fact that you've got the experience and the network and the pool of resources and also the trust, because they kind of know by reference that it will be delivered. But they were very interested in the new way of doing things. And so was this company from Doha. It's a startup. It's a social enterprise, but they come from the big guys, and a group of them has just come together because they've got children under that spectrum, and they're looking at doing this. And I was like, wow, that's interesting, you know.
Are you going to fly there?
I would like to see the setup once it's done. Yeah, I really like to go into the Middle East market because that's not one market I've not been into. Yeah, and get more resources out of there. What else? Categories. That's an interesting one. I've got personal branding right in front of me. Prami is a serial entrepreneur. She does her own PR consulting company. So we've done that branding exercise with her about 1.5 years ago. And then she expanded her business into retail. She's providing souvenirs and So we had a separate brand created, an identity for that was a different sector to her PR and consulting, because her PR and consulting was more of a luxury basis, and it was event, high-end branding, fashion. So I do individual branding as well in that manner. Yeah.
Well, obviously, by doing this process with Roger's creation, I'm reassessing everything I've been doing and what I'm going to present. And I am bilingual, French and English. And I do what I used to call awareness coaching. And anyway, there's a lot I could say about that, but more than anything, I used to be calling my business joyawareness.com and translating joieconscience.com. And then it's a bit annoying to have two names.
Yeah.
It's too long, and it's too like when people hear awareness, it's like, many are not attracted by that. It scares some people. So anyway, I went with my name, which is a little too long, and I'm really not attached to it, so I'm not excited about it. Now, I was looking for a little short, succinct name that would be kind of bilingual and a little more attractive. So I'm testing the ground, okay? Voilajoy.com.
Voila. Is it?
Here it is.
Yeah.
And I'm now calling myself more of a joy mentor. Because that's always what I've done.
Yeah.
With energy and with the different tools that I know from Access Consciousness and etc., etc. So, testing the ground, testing.
I like it. Immediately, it resonates with me when I see you. No, I didn't know you were half French, half English. Yeah.
You will.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, I can see the voila in you with
Cool.
the voila and the brand, you know. And it's authentic to you. Like, I don't know how you translate that. Have you got visual reference already that you go
I
and
design
see?
myself. I
Right.
am a former designer.
Right.
And I designed the Voila. How is it? Voila is a little more solid letters.
Yeah.
And then joy is more fluent.
Fluid and happy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a really like, I did it like this very, very quickly. So it will be pushed eventually. But
Yeah.
I already have something.
Nice.
And the colors are kind of nice.
Yeah.
2 colors and testing.
Yeah. Grounds. Pete, what do you feel? The guy. Yeah, it's cute.
So if you hear or if
Well,
you
that's
see
good.
that somewhere and you have no clue what it's about, will you be curious? That's my point.
Sunday.
Well, I described it. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Nice. Cute. Okay, one more question.
Any more questions?
Yeah. I have an e-commerce jewelry brand.
Yeah.
And the values are very strong and a lot of customers really identify with it. But how do you build up a community from there?
What are your values?
It's a lot about ethical sourcing. We plant a tree for every piece sold and for every newsletter subscription. and it's a lot about kindness, about imperfections. So we work with included stones to represent acceptation,
Right.
acceptance.
So if you got a strong base of followers on your social media, and if you got like-minded brands that you work together with that offer similar stuff.
No.
I know a few already that are like, different values, but they are into natural raw stones. Is it about healing and making sure? Is there any elements of holisticness to it, and how you do it? And it's local craft. John Hardy is a big brand that does the same. Not the same, but they have some values like that. So your question is, how do you build communities?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where is your struggle in that? Like, you don't have a following, or you're not having class in
No,
terms of...
it's how do I go beyond just selling products and creating that feeling of community, of making people feel part of the brand?
Top of my head, it will be one, looking at similar brands that offer the same, and you collaborate. Two, you maybe want to offer an experience out of it, so do classes. Have people come and make them together. So those are the people that believe in the making, that you can teach them jewelry making or something. That's already one set of communities you're building. Also the buyers and buyers can belong together, and they can share what's the why, what was the core reason them buying into the brand, and they're already a group of people on their own. Once you look at if you've got data on your profile and your buyers, and you look at what is similar within that, then you can have activities or experiential ideas around that to get communities formed. I would say that.
I can add that, Maria. I think brilliant idea would be if you interview your clients, do some short success stories, videos on how this your brand transformed their life, for example, or what kind of, how lucky they became, or what happened in their lives after they connected with your brand. This is what we're doing. For example, Roger is doing a lot of success stories with our community members, and they share the experience while being a part of Roger's community, and affects a lot of people. It inspires, but in the same time, you're not selling aggressively. You just share the story, the success, and the values that people share.
Yeah.
And it can be very short video, but people will be grateful for mentioning them in your stories, as well as it's coming from them, not from you, and it will be accepted more, I think. Yeah?
Go for it.
I wanted to share with you from a consumer experience, because as a consumer, I experienced this community building thing that a brand had made. A friend of mine opened a cafe called Living Well, and it's like a healthy cafe, like a gazillion others in Bali. But what she did was, every Wednesday we have this thing called Club Nanam, which is like a planting club, and it's for anyone who's curious about how to grow organic vegetables. And so I, for the first time, planted my own broccoli, which is like super exciting for me. And because of that, like, I shared it, and I'm like really into her brand, and I go into her store now, and I love buying her vegetables, I love buying her eggs, and she supports local farmers who is attempting to grow organic vegetables and fruits as well. And from a consumer perspective, that really, like, that experience was really attached me to her brand. And it's just another healthy cafe, but it was a really special one because she gave me free seeds, like broccoli seeds, and it's something really cheap, but she gave it away for free. And there's like a whole bunch of ladies that meet up every Wednesday. So yeah, that to me was something that was like stood out than any other cafes that I've been to. So maybe that'll give you an idea.
Involvement, experiential. I remember as a kid, they somewhat growing up in Malaysia, we could go into McDonald's and do their kitchen tour. Go see their thing. I don't know whether they did it in other countries, and you felt as if that loyalty suddenly came because you could, like, something similar, but just taught me, right? Like, they showed you how the thing was cooked. Yeah. Did they do that in your country? I know, right? They used to do that, and then I think we could go to the Colgate factory. It's all the whole part of they brainwashed you since you were small. Huh. Yeah. Burgers, yeah. But you felt you were, but they put you in the freezer. And yeah, and that's the childhood memory, so it's stuck.
I think you could approach universities and students could do like a case study on your brand identity and stuff like that. So to help you if you don't have any resources with social media, they can help you with Facebook, like interns or just students who are doing some kind of research. Probably you could approach some creatives in California that students are just brilliant. They would help you and they would use your case as like a part of the work that they will show to the
School.
school.
Yeah, but once you get clarity, starts with the name. Get clarity of you. And I think once you get clarity of what you're offering, which you are already kind of there, and it's just translating that into options of design and identity. Yeah.
Well, I think it's slightly transforming into a mastermind group right now.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I think we need to finish
up. Yeah,
like the official part.
Pardon me?
The official part we can finish right now,
Yeah.
but people still can connect.
I've just got
and
one
chat.
video that I found because I thought I should show a video in case everything got like weird, and at least I can go video. It's actually it's actually quite cute. It was actually for a course, and it was done in 2000. It was something I googled on YouTube. But I think it got the essence of what branding should be in a very typography kind of generic design and branding kind of way. I think it was a course in some university. So ignore the last slide, but see the rest. a master course, but it's quite cute. So it wraps it up. Says it's all about you. So it's what you make it to be. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing your time and energy with me. See ya.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your discount, special discount for non-members 30% and for members 50% for your food and drinks. You are you still? You can connect with each other. Please use our blank business cards here. If you don't have your business cards with you, you can connect with Aila as well. And please come to our big event on the 10th of September. It's called Ocean Day, where we'll be talking about ocean conservation. It's a whole fun family day, raising awareness about, about plastic and trash and ocean conservation. And we have a lot of partners here, 22 partners who will be representing their companies, social enterprises as well, and speakers who will be talking about ocean. Yeah, and it's another brand that we, another event that we organize here, supporting United Nations Global Goals. And thank you, Aila, for your presentation today. It was wonderful. Thank you.